Hello everyone, so welcome to Let's Revise. Today we will be looking into parliamentary control or the various devices that are used by Parliament in order to control the executive. The question is a 2017 question. The Parliament of India exercises control over the functions of Council of Ministers through one adjournment motion, second one question hour, third one supplementary motion. So these are very important motions we will discuss in detail. So there are several kinds of devices that are used by the Parliament in order to control or exert control over the executive. And the most important one is a question hour. That is, this question hour is where it is actually the first hour of every sitting of the House, and it is where the parliamentarians ask questions to the ministers and the ministers reply, in fact, that is, provide the facts. So there are three types of questions. One is start question, which is to be answered orally, and that's the reason why supplementary questions can follow. While unstart questions are those which has to be answered in a written format, and that's the reason why supplementary questions cannot be asked. Supplementary questions cannot be asked. And the next is short notice question, in which the question or matter of an urgent public importance is raised, and this can be raised in a very short period, that is less than 10 days, and that's the reason why it is called short notice questions. And the most important part, the next one is a 0 hour. It is actually an Indian innovation, and it is an informal device. Because why we call it as an informal device is that it is not listed in rules of procedure of Lok Sabha. And when it is located, that is, it is situated, or this particular hour happens just after the question hour and just before the agenda of the House is taken up. So that is what 0 hour is all about, and important questions are being asked in 0 hour of very important matter. So the next is motions. So it is actually the very basis of parliamentary proceeding. In fact, every discussion that happens in the Parliament, you can say, is as a result of the adoption of these motions. And adoption or rejection, whatever it may be, it actually expresses the decision or the opinion rather of the House. And motions are actually the motions to raise various discussions or discussions on various matters. Basically, are of three types. First one, substantiative motions. What exactly is substantiative motion? As the name suggests, substantiative motion means is of a motion of very importance. That is of a very importance, and it can exist independently. That is, independent proposal dealing with important matter. And an example is motion for election or removal of presiding officers except for chairman, etc. The next is substitute motion. Of course, what do you mean by substitute is that something replacing. Similarly, here also this one substitutes or replaces an original motion, which when it is adopted, and in fact it supersedes the original motion. So that is it. So substitute motion substitutes the original motion and propose an alternative, in fact, and if adopted, it supersedes the original motion. And the next is subsidiary motion. As the name suggests, it is subsidiary, that is, it cannot have an independent standing, and that's the reason why it depends upon or relates to other motions, and it cannot state the decision of the House without reference to an original motion. So these are the major three important ones. So moving on to the types of motions, that is the different kinds of motion. One is closure motion. What closure motion is, as the name suggests, it closes. That is, it closes the discussion that is happening in the House, and the matter is actually put to vote. So that is what this closure motion means about. That is, to cut short the debate on a matter even though the discussion is not over, and if the motion is approved, the debate is stopped and the matter is put to vote. So that is what closure motion means about. Privilege motion is a motion that is filed by a parliamentarian if he or she feels that there is a breach of privilege by the minister. So that's the reason why it is moved by any member against a minister for breach of privilege. Next is adjournment motion. It's a very important motion wherein it obstructs the normal proceeding of the House. And since it obstructs the normal proceeding of the House, it is an extraordinary device, and it can be introduced only if it has the support of 50 members. And when it is used, that is the most important one, it is used only when it wants, or a person or a party wants to draw the attention of the House to a very important public importance. There is a very important public importance matter, only then this particular adjournment motion is used. And it interrupts the normal business of the House, and it also acts as an element of censure against the government, and as a result, Lok Sabha only has authorization to use it, that is Rajya Sabha. It cannot be used in Rajya Sabha, and as a result, this motion cannot carry more than one subject. That is, it cannot carry more than one matter. Only one matter at a time can be used for this adjournment motion. And the next is calling attention motion. It is used to call the attention of a minister for an important public for a matter of important urgent public matter. And the next is not a yet named motion, wherein the motion is admitted by a speaker for the discussion, but at the same time no date has been approved or has been given for that particular day. So next is censure motion. Censure motion is moved by an individual parliamentarian or a group of parliamentarians against an individual minister or a group of ministers if they fail to act. That is, if the ministers fail to act. Now the next most important part is a no confidence motion. This is the most important one. You all might be knowing that the Council of Ministers, they are collectively responsible to the House of the People. That is according to Article 75. So here, this the responsibility, or this has not been mentioned in the Constitution, that is regarding confidence of the Lok Sabha, but again it is inferred in fact. So in order to ascertain the confidence of the Council of Ministers within that they command in Lok Sabha, this particular motion, that is no confidence motion, is used. And since it is used in order to test the government in the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha is not empowered to use it. And there is no mention of this no confidence motion in the Constitution. And there is no need for specifying the reason why this no confidence motion is being introduced. And as it is a very important motion, and also it disrupts the normal proceeding of the House as well as the government's functioning also, it requires the support of not less than 50 members within Lok Sabha. That is, 50 Lok Sabha members has to support it. And the next is confidence motion, which is usually provided, or which is taken by the government if the government feels that they command, or the government wants to show that they command confidence within Lok Sabha. So these are the most important motions which you need to keep in mind. Now we will move on to the question. The Parliament of India exercises control over the functions of the Council of Ministers through adjournment motion. Of course, we all know that adjournment motion, wherein it was actually it is an extraordinary motion, wherein 50 members have to sign it. So which means that the first statement is there, that is therein the ministers as such, it is censured. So first statement, or the first option is there, one is there. So which means that we can eliminate Bombay. B. Question hour, of course in question hour also the parliamentaries, they question the government relating to various details, and if the government has to provide the right details. If they are not providing the right detail, then a privilege motion, breach of privilege motion can also be introduced. Along with that, this particular question hour, it also may pave way towards the no confidence motion, and that's the reason why we can say question hour is also there. Supplementary question, of course you all know, it actually supplements the ordinary one, and as a result, since it asks the question or it demands explanation from the minister, we can say these two together also constitutes or also helps the parliament to exercise control over the executive. So which means that the answer should be D, Delhi 1, 2 and 3. So that's it. Thank you.